My name is Jill Anderson, and I'd like to welcome you to my video series for YouTube, and it is the Homegrown Gourmet. Now, I personally am a vegan vegetarian. I try to eat vegan as much as I can, but you know, I've got to have a little slip sometimes and have some cheese, but my focus is primarily on getting people to understand that there is an entire world of wonderful foods available to you out there without the use of the usual suspects in vegetarian cooking, namely tofu, tempeh, and some hideous thing called seitan that kind of tastes like moldy SpongeBob. So my focus, again, like I said, is just getting you to see the possibilities available to you with real food, but vegan and vegetarian. Living in a household with someone who is a carnivore, I obviously don't cook all vegetarian. So one of my other focuses is on showing you how you can take a meal and basically in cooking one meal, you can kill two birds with one stone. You can satisfy the carnivore and you can make the vegetarian happy as well. What I'm making for you today is I'm making a little appetizer that it's kind of a two-part thing. It can be used as an appetizer or as a light lunch. And it's going to start with a little mini grilled sandwich. Let me get some heat under my pan here so that it's ready for me when I'm ready for it. And this is a little mini grilled sandwich. I usually try to buy a baguette, and I use organic groceries whenever I can find them. If you don't have access to organic groceries, farm fresh or locally grown would probably be the next best alternative, but I definitely try to get organic. And that includes breads, by the way. So there's a lovely bakery here in town that does have organic breads. So I've gotten today, the one I have today is an herb baguette. And you have a little more control sometimes when you use a serrated knife, which is one like this with teeth. And I've just sliced that into some thin portions. And I've already buttered it here with some softened butter. Now, what I really like to do to put on these is I really like herbed goat cheese and green tomato. Does everybody hear what I'm talking about? That is the best. However, I'm also a practical cook, so when I go to the market, if they don't have any fresh goat cheese that day, hey, I take what I can get. So what I've gotten right here is I've gotten some little balls of fresh mozzarella or bocconcini. And obviously they'd be a little difficult to melt on a sandwich in this state, so what I've done is I've just taken this little paring knife and I've just sliced them into some thin little slices, and these are going to go in my grilled sandwich. This is very simple, really. There's not very many components to this. Now, I've pre-buttered the baguette, and as I said, I have my pan going here, getting a little bit of heat under it. The next component to this sandwich is some tomatoes. Now, right here, I have, this is actually not a yellow tomato. This is an underripe tomato. There's a couple of reasons why I do that. Number one, I like the flavor. I prefer green if I can find it, but if I can, I'll try to get some underripe. But I like the flavor, and I like the fact that it doesn't just totally decompose in the heat of the cooking pan. So what I've done is I've kind of taken the top and the bottom off of my tomatoes and cut them in half. And you can see I've cut them into half moons, thin half moons. And then I've got them laying on some paper towel, and this is to absorb extra water. You don't want soggy little grilled cheese sandwich bites. So I've got this laying out here just like this, and what we're going to do is, this is just some garlic and sea salt in a combination grinder, and you want to salt them. Two reasons. Salt gives them absolutely great taste. And then the garlic doesn't hurt either. But the other reason is it actually pulls some of that excess moisture out of the tomatoes. And I know you can't see that closely on this tape, but if you could, you can see that the tomatoes that I had laying here already cut are actually weeping, and that's good. That's what we want them to do. So the ones that I have just now cut, we're going to let them sit here and cry for a little bit so that water comes up. My pan is getting warm. I don't want my pan screaming hot, but I do want it hot enough to kind of instantly brown the butter a little bit. So now that I've got that taken care of, the next thing I want to do is I want to show you, I've got a little dip that I make to go with these great sandwiches. This is super simple, and it's so very tasty. Everyone loves this dip. And this is a roasted red pepper.